So before we get started in earnest, I actually wanted to make sure that the robots run on IG markets, and they do. They run fine. Somebody wrote me and said they're not running correctly, but it's because they're running it on the the pairs without .fx at the end. But otherwise, they run fine. I'm actually adding. I'm going to move $100,000 over to IG, and uh, I'm going to I've set a couple of goals related to running the robots that I'm going to share with you that make me super excited. So we're going to be talking about that next week. All right. As another note, I'm going to mention this 45 times. The SMS list is here. I got tired of waiting, so I just made one myself. Um, Now, there are advantages and disadvantages to launching this right away. The advantage is that right away you should get on this list by going to robbybooker.com/coach, and you should enter your information. I don't even know what information it asks for. I think it just asks for your number. But the point is, go there as soon as possible and get on that list. And what I will do is notify you if we're starting late or starting early, or I'll just say good morning. I'll whatever it is. Now, I won't send out the webinar links inside the text message because that's going to be pointless. Most of you aren't going to join the webinar from your phone anyway, but it will remind you of times, dates, and other kind of cool things. And it's just for us inside of the coaching program, this inner circle. So I strongly advise you to jump on that list. That will help you know, hey, are we meeting today? Well, you won't have to wonder because I'll jump in there in the morning and send out a reminder, and you'll probably hear from me once or twice a day. Also, if I'm in a trade that we've talked about, such as this $57,000 trade that we've been talking about, then you're going to know what I'm doing with that trade every once in a while. So I think that's going to help a ton. Like I said, it's not a perfect solution to anything, but I think it's going to I think it's going to be nice. So let me know if you get on that list. I did start early today, but I've got a couple of updates. So welcome to everyone. You can see here there's a new slide presentation going on. This will preserve ink in your printer. Makes a lot of sense if you print these out. And I will continue to improve and adjust the way these slides look over the course of the next few days. And then when we come back on Monday, we're going to have an brand new slide deck for December, which makes me really excited. We'll change up the look a little bit and get things all in one place. All right, I will say the SMS list about 100 times, Jeff. No problem at all. I get really excited about it. I'll even drop a link into the webinar to answer you. Remember, there's no meeting tomorrow, Thursday, or Friday. We're back on Monday, December 2nd. Okay, here's the list. This is the SMS coaching list. This allows me to send you an SMS to your phone. Now, the problem is you can't reply. You won't be able to reply once you're on this list. Go to robbybooker.com/coach. If you reply, you'll get some kind of a generic message from Twilio. I don't actually know what that message is, but I know there is some kind of generic message. But it will allow me one-to-many contact with you really easily to provide you with updates on our schedule and everything else. So, okay. Let me reshare the screen. You should be able to see it. I just shared it again. I actually haven't forgotten in a long time to share my screen. There you go. So let's go back to the coaching slide here on the SMS list. robbybooker.com/coach. That's robbybooker.com/coach, robbieBooker.com/coach. Don't share that link. It won't really matter if you do, because I'm not going to send any special links out. But it would be better if you didn't share it. Now, there's also a chance that I will change this link, and the tech team will come around and provide a link for us. But I got tired of waiting for the tech team to build this link. So I just built one myself with a tool online called Remind Them. And it works. I think it'll work great. So the SM list is here, robbiebooker.com/coach. I will pop that up again in a little bit so you can see it again. Once again, how can you get the slides? robbiebooker.com/coach slides. This link will change next Monday as we switch over to December slides. I'll try to keep it text only and light on the ink from your printer. If you want to get the FX watch list that I'm using, you can go to robbiebooker.com/alphafx. And if you want the divergence and profit circles, you can follow these two links on the screen, /Knoxville and /KDTV. Now, as part of our ongoing efforts to make a bunch of money on a consistent basis, I have been testing out whether my robots work on IG markets. And they do. They work quite nicely, in fact. So over the course of the next few days, I'm going to move about $100,000 over to IG. And as part of our updates, I'm going to embark on some kind of a goal, some kind of modest goal that prevents any significant drawdown. And oh, there we go, fired off a buy trade on euro US dollar. I'm going to keep you updated on that, but they are working actually quite nicely. Kind of excited about it. So more on that as we go, but that's all dependent upon Knoxville divergence and stuff. All right. Here's the agenda, the only agenda for today. This is the most important thing that we can do, and it's the only thing I'm interested in doing right now, and it's the $57,000 trade. So I'm going to risk over the next few days $10,000. I know that the probability of this trade working out is low. I'm going to use the perfect setup to find the trade, and I want to set a goal. I'm looking for a trade that's going to produce $57,000. I think it's typically the case for me anyway that I find this trade sort of through my peripheral vision, meaning I find it as I'm scanning a bunch of stuff. I find it on the way to somewhere else. And so I keep busy with charts and so forth. And then at some point in time over the course of the next week or so, I'm going to stumble across an idea that I believe will be the $57,000 trade. And you might ask, well, if you can find one of them, why don't you find one all the time? And the answer is, I think that's exactly what we'll do. We'll change the number and then we'll search for the trades. And there will always be kind of one big hunt that we're doing. And you don't have to risk $10,000. I would encourage you not to. Trading involves a substantial risk of loss, and the likelihood that this trade works is low, but it does actually focus my thinking in such a significant manner that it's worth doing. So I'm not gonna spend an enormous amount of time repeating myself over and over again about how low of likelihood it is. But the point of it is that it is probably going to work a bunch of times, and we are going to make a bunch of money from that. And it is going to focus our thinking on only looking for trades with a great risk to reward ratio. There's all kinds of wonderful benefits that come from focusing our thinking. All right, for those of you that are just getting here now, I created an SMS list for us. It's one-to-many communication. You can't reply to me. I won't see a reply if you write back. But it does allow me to communicate to you when we're starting and remind you of our schedule. So you go to robbiebooker.com/coach. I'm thinking about making a Google Calendar for the coaching, which includes, days we're meeting and stuff like that. So you can get reminders and add yourself to that calendar and whatever else. So looking forward to that. So get yourself on that SMS list. That'll get an update to your phone. Once again, I'm not going to send the webinar links to your phone because you're not going to join the webinar from your phone anyway. But it will remind you when we're meeting and maybe every once in a while about a trade update that I want to send. All right. That's about it. I think I'm ready to jump on over to the $57,000 trade. So I'm going to fire up the old Bloomberg terminal, and we're going to run a scan of financial instruments. And we're also going to look at the VIX today. I started a little bit early so we could get the housekeeping stuff out of the way and spend most of the time in this session looking at the markets, which makes me very happy. So firing up the old Bloomberg terminal right now. You don't need the Bloomberg terminal. You can follow these webinars and you can follow the scans that we make and everything else. So it's not necessary for you to have this tool, but when you make your first couple $100,000, I think you might actually want to consider it. All right. So last night I grabbed a scan and updated it in Bloomberg called Super Value, and stocks with options available, not the financial stocks and not the utilities. 30-day average volume is above 500,000 shares, and these companies get a great return on capital and have a high ranking on their earnings before interest and taxes. And here's the scan. Now it's a bunch of companies, and honestly, I don't know how I would ever get through all of these and find a $57,000 trade unless I also added one critical criteria. So the most important thing you can do if you're a buyer of stocks is you can learn to find great companies, as Jim Cramer would say, with broken stocks. Meaning you find great companies with good fundamentals, and then you find that their stocks have gotten crushed. Okay, so we're going to look at stocks that are super value companies that have dropped 10% over the course of the last 30 days. And we're going to look at each one of these companies in succession. Now, what I want to do is create a new watch list, and we'll call it 57. And we're going to add these names. So someone wants to look at Beyond Meat. We'll look at that, sure. And then let's look at Annette FTDR, so, and Jack in the Box, ENPHAXAS, and SMSI. Okay, this ought to be interesting. What Front Door? I've heard of this company. Oh, no, I have not. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know this company. They sell these insurance plans for your house or whatever. Okay, got it. All right. LaDonna reminds us that TradingView is having a big Black Friday. Their monthly and yearly packages are insanely cheap for the year. So if you're thinking about using the same charting platform that I use, super, super good idea to maybe consider that. All right, let's look at Beyond Meat. So Beyond Meat was a super popular stock. It's still at $77 a share, and it doesn't have earnings. And if you're thinking about shorting Beyond Meat, I'm fine with that. I love the company and the idea behind the company. I love lots of stuff about the company, but I'm not entirely sure if this company can survive in its current form. Someone's probably going to buy this company, so for that reason, maybe we get a boost. I think it's still trading at some just absolutely bizarre number times its sales, like just some absolutely incredible time. It just some ridiculous number, like 22 times its sales. Some just giant number. Okay, so we'll consider looking at that. So Shantan, when you say they just got bought out, remember there's lots of comments, so I don't know what they refers to. So whenever you leave a comment, be like write the fullest sentence that you can, and then I'll because I definitely want to follow everything here. And what about shorting TD? I'll look at a bunch of stuff. So okay, great. We'll look at a bunch of these. All right, let's look at Annette. Arista Networks, super value company. They do have earnings. They are not a terrible company. We can bring it over here and take a look quickly at some of the summary here. Undervalued company. Statistics, $18 billion market cap. Wow, pretty nice book value per share. $5 of cash for every $1 of debt. So what's the problem here? What's the reason? So it's got some return on capital. Arista Networks has total assets of 3.6 billion and liabilities of 548 million. That's great. Law firm investigates claims on behalf of investors. That's pretty common. Lawyers are always investigating that kind of stuff. So this is actually not a bad one. It's not a full setup. It doesn't have the bullish divergence that we like to see, but this is kind of nice. It's not a perfect setup yet, though. I would love to see bullish profit circles, some bullish divergence. Front Door is a super value company. Wow, it just jumped off the bottom there and went on a savage run. This is not set up for a trade. I'm going to delete it. Jack in the Box is dropping to a monthly and weekly pivot. That's not a setup. It's not even close to being a setup. Yeah. I mean, it's after earnings, which typically this is one of the times that we get a lot of really good movement on something. I mean, we could look at some of the fundamentals here. Yeah, I don't know. It's not what we're looking for. ENPH, Enphase Energy. It's got the bullish profit circle. It's got the missed pivots above. Wow, there's where the trade was. Still not moving a ton. Ooh, now we're talking. Abraxas Petroleum Corp. Look at all this bullish divergence. We need a bullish profit circle. So what is this company and why is it? What are its wow, it's only trading for 25 cents. So what's going on here? So the revenue growth is down, but they have revenue. They've got revenue. I mean, it's not a. I wonder if we can find anything on insider stuff. We're going to find out. Nothing too significant. Insiders are pretty good at timing their trades, I'll tell you that much. They buy it when it seems to be ready to go up. So this is I'd buy some shares of this company for 25 cents. I mean, seriously, that's a pretty great bargain. I'd like to know what the deal is here and why this company has done so badly. Uh, Discusses what's left and what's next for San Antonio Driller, debt refinancing and releases local misses consensus estimate, refinancing, borrowing bases, cancels third quarter conference call. That's not good. Um, Taking a painful 92% share drop. Wow. Yeah, that's a pretty significant drop here. You know, I wouldn't be super giantly opposed at 25 cents a share. I would not be opposed to, buying 1,000 of those shares. That would not, I mean, this is not our $57,000 trade, but certainly not opposed to that. Here's Smith Micro Software, not a perfect setup. Western Digital Corp. Okay, bullish divergence. Waiting on a bullish profit circle. This is a beautiful one. This is really nice. Yeah, that could be really nice. The Trade Desk Incorporated. Ooh, three stocks that have doubled and still have room to grow. What is the Trade Desk? TD. Yeah, what is this company? Technology company provides a self-service omnichannel software platform that enables clients to purchase and manage data-driven digital advertising campaigns in the United States and internationally. Wow, whoa, that's not sustainable. What is the market cap here? 11 billion. You know what the average volume is? 52. Average volume is a million shares. This is kind of a fascinating look. I don't know where you found this one. So let's look at insiders on this bad boy, right? That's the next thing to do. Okay, give me a second here and I'll bring it over. They're all selling. There's not one of them that's buying. Wow. Okay, so Marshall says the link won't. So let's go back over here and get the link. So go to robbiebooker.com/coach. Let's see if I can get it to accept a phone number. Okay. So you drop down the menu here and you put your country in and then you just type it exactly as you see it. That should work. I think you probably are able to even go like that. So I think that works. I think it does. But yeah, I just got it. So Marshall, if you need some extra help, we're here for you, man. You just keep messaging me inside the webinar and we will not stop until we get you the help you need. Technology is weird, right? It works for one person, doesn't work for another. It's kind of how it goes. I love this one. I love this TTD. Let's look at Tupperware. Whoa, Tupperware. Hold the phone. What in the world? Wow, that is not a good looking chart. You think that's a bearish trend? I would give that a crack at some point in time. It's not a bad idea. We should look at insiders on Tupperware too. They're buying. It's got a long way to go to make those buyers some money. Yeah, Rubbermaid is just cranking compared to Tupperware. This is great. I love looking at all these Jumia Technologies. I've never heard of this company. This chart looks really interesting. A lot of average volume. Operates an e-commerce platform in Africa. This is interesting. I like this. I like where we're going with this one. This one is definitely going on the list. TTD. I want to see what the options chain looks like on this. All right, let's take a look here. Look at the January chain. Plenty of volume. Anything unusual on the puts? Nobody's even buying them. Seems odd. Seems really odd to me. Super Cyberall says, what's an average volume? It's how many shares are traded every day. Like if there's not a lot of volume, then you can't trade it really. You can't get out of a trade when you want to get out of a trade. Expiring November 29th. Let's just look. Let's just look at TTD. What if we bought the 265 and sold the 262? We could make $80 in exchange for 250. They have a pretty wide spread, but I don't care about that because I'm thinking they'll expire worthless. So if I bought the 265 and sold the 262, I'm not necessarily going to do this. I can make $800 in exchange for a risk of 2,500. 850. It's not bad. You know, like I'm not super opposed to, but it does want to go to 270, as you can see here, right? It wants to go up to that weekly missed pivot up there. But then it's got a ton of room to go down. I'm going to put an alert on this chart. Buy puts when it rises up close to that weekly pivot. So Shantan says, are we looking at the 1 hour charts or the 4 hour charts? We're looking at either one. I definitely prefer the 4 hour charts. Marshall says, I own TDT shares and I'm worried. Oh, I mean, clearly this stock is up right now. I wouldn't. The only time you ever worry is if you own so much of something that if it dropped, you would lose a significant amount of money compared to what you have. So no one trade should ever represent the loss of a significant amount of your money. So, I mean, if you're worried about it because you can't afford for the trade to go against you, then you just get out or reduce your exposure. Yeah. So Super Cyberall says, wouldn't this be a buy call? So once again, don't, if you write a comment, Super Cyberl, don't say wouldn't this, say the actual stock, because we look at so many things. By the time I see your question, I don't know what you're referring to. So definitely be very, very specific when you write your questions. Marshall, we'll get somebody on the horn with you to work with you. So if you have 30 shares, Marshall, let's say it makes a top and we decide to do something about it. You could write covered calls. You could do that. You could rent out your stock and probably make some nice money. Okay, Ladonna says, so if Torque Esports, Frankly, and WinView create a combined entity, then what stocks would we be looking at viewing for trades? Oh, I don't know. I don't know anything about this, but it's pretty cool. Torque Esports. WinView. Don't have anything on that. Frankly. Wow. I'd look at the one with the clearest setup. I mean, these are all, well, those are pretty, that's pretty fascinating. It's an interesting idea here. Uh, these are kind of like lottery plays, you know what I mean? You know, you buy 100 shares or something like that, and it doesn't represent a big, listen, I'm not going to buy it, so I'm not going to affect the price or whatever because it doesn't have a lot of volume. But I like the idea of having some things in your portfolio that are kind of like 100 shares of something that might grow 10 times. I love that idea a lot. That makes a lot of sense to me, doing things like that. Okay, I'm going to look at UVXY for a minute and talk a little bit about plans and ideas and thoughts and reservations and those kinds of things. So I own the $16 January 17th calls. And I think I jumped the gun. We don't have a complete setup here. We do not have a perfect trade. Now, on the 60-minute chart, we got a bullish profit circle. But I'm really talking about the 4-hour chart. When I say perfect trade, I mean bullish divergence, bullish profit circle, and missed pivots above. We don't have that profit circle yet. So I jumped the gun. I think before the end of the year, this financial instrument goes to 20 bucks. And I think possibly more. So I may be talking myself into this being the trade that I really, really go aggressive on, where I'm really thinking, yeah, this is the one. And I like it for a few reasons. It's an odd financial instrument that has its own laws of physics. Like the rest of the market is Newtonian, but this is quantum. Every once in a while, on some kind of shocking news that hits the market, the UVXY spikes. But in every single recent instance that it did that, it was preceded by bullish divergence and a profit circle on the 4-hour charts. And it doesn't happen very often. And the same is true for, the bearish moves as well. And if you give it 30, 60, or 90 days, you do yourself a pretty good favor. Now, sometimes you get bullish profit circles, but you don't get the divergence. So it doesn't really count. But when you do get the bullish profit circles and you get the bullish divergence and you have missed pivots above where we are, you get a pretty giant spike if you give yourself 30, 60, 90 days. You see where I'm going with this, right? So occasionally you'll get, 45 bullish divergences in a row and then a profit circle, and then you don't get anything. So we do need the divergences and the profit circles to be, closer together. But and you have to go back to like 2016 for this to stop working. Otherwise, it's a pretty good formula for success. And the VIX during a bull market is just going to fall all the time. That's what the VIX is going to do. It's volatility is at a significant all-time low, or at least the UVXY is. But I like buying this right now. And the UVXY is just getting torched right now. But I think this is going to reach 20 by the end of the year, just on a technical basis. And then you got to ask yourself the question with a perfect trade. Are there fundamentals to back this up? Are there any fundamental reasons that this could go up? Is there any reason to believe, yeah, okay, there's trade war stuff, there's impeachment stuff, there's election stuff. I mean, yeah, there's enough there. I mean, we do have a history in recent memory of Decembers being kind of messy. Go back to December of last year. So volatility really spiked in December of last year. And I think it's going to happen again. I don't want to risk my entire account doing something like this, but I don't have a problem risking, 2,000 or 3,000 and maybe increasing that to something more substantial as we go on. So let's go back to TTD. Super Cyberall has a question. So you said you looked in Robinhood at selling a call. Wouldn't you buy it? No, we're looking at selling this Super Cyberall. We're not doing it. Remember, don't just slow everything down and ask all these questions. This is great that you're asking all these questions. We're looking at setting up a sell trade on this company. We may never take it, but we're looking at setting up a bet against this company going higher. Buying a put, doing a vertical call spread, a credit spread, which means we buy one call and sell another and get a credit, and then both expire worthless, and then we make the money. So. What is VIX-M? I don't know. I've never even looked at it. Midterm futures. Don't know. Never seen it before in my life. So, great question came in. How is the UVX priced? How is the UVXY calculated? It's pretty complicated. Calculating twice the return of buying second month VIX futures with the proceeds of selling the first month ones. So, the UVXY sells the near contract and buys the second month ones. The model replicates twice the return of the S&P 500 VIX short-term futures index for a single day. So when it starts to go up, it has a self-fulfilling prophecy, and then it builds on itself. But then as it declines, it's just contango. It just drifts towards zero. So. But the most important element, yeah, so as UVX falls, it's averaging down. That's exactly what it's doing. And that's why I never buy it. Maybe once a year I do a buy trade on it, Mark. Maybe once a year when there's a perfect setup at a time when historically we've seen a bounce. And then the rest of the time, you can make a lot of money selling it on rallies inside of a bull market, because all we've ever seen is a bull market. Now, if the conditions change to a bear market, this thing goes up and it torches everybody who sells it every single time. And then that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy as well. And it's kind of like adding to winners, right? It kind of like changes the dynamic. Open interest on the UVXY January 17th, $20 call is way higher than the others. You're absolutely right. So this is what I've also looked at. I'm really glad you brought this up, and it's a nice place for us to finish. Now, I don't want to obsess about this so much that it starts to sound like I think that this is a sure thing, because it's not. But it's high on the list of things I'm interested in. So the January $20 calls. Let's see what those look like. 26,000. That's a lot of. I'm just. I think there are a lot of bets, and I think it's different. Like, um, there are lots of hedges at prices where the UVXY is never going to go to a dollar and so forth. But this looks like, you know, somebody's building, or people are building positions. I'd have to look at the volume, day by day by day. Was there one giant trade in the UVXY options? Did it suddenly change to 20,000, or was somebody building a position? And it, it looks and feels like, when you look at the numbers, that somebody's building a position here with the $20 ones. So I pick for my options when I trade them on exotics or whatever else, or every time we look at them. Most of my trades, and I'm going to treat them as if they're humans. They like to have 60 to 90 days to work out. I like to choose the contract with substantial open interest. So, for example, I'm very interested in the UVXY $20 calls because there's lots of open interest in there. Picking January gives me 47 plus 4, like only 50 days. So that's on the low side of what I would want to have as far as time. But I don't need more than that. This trade is either going to move before the end of the year or not. The $20 calls cost $1.10. So I'm not going to buy them yet, but I am really close to wanting to buy them. I could say I'll pay 95 cents for them. Put a limit order in and say, yeah, sure, I'll pay 95 cents for the $20 calls. What's the delta on those? Assuming things remain the same, we get about 35 cents of movement for every dollar. So if it moves $5, we get 5 times 35 cents on the option. It's pretty good if you buy it for $1 and you make 5 times 30 cents, $1.50. That's you get an over 100%, and that's going to change if it rapidly moves higher. 32 cents. So would the VIX be low during the holiday week? Okay, let's finish off with that excellent question. In my experience, every 7 to 10 years, the holidays get crazy, not less crazy. Like you got a perfect mix over this holiday season of factors for volatility. These holidays are a perfect time for China to announce no deal. I mean, it's also to announce a deal, but they'd probably do it during market hours, or for some scandal to erupt. This is a great time. So, with that said, I'd like to be in maybe a few additional options, before the break. But when it moves up, look, even on the really big moves, this is what it looks like. You get 1 day up, and you still have time to get into the trade, even after that big candle. And then it just goes for, multiple additional sessions over the course of 2 weeks, even. And even if you miss the entire first move, you get a retrace and then you get a move up. So you get some good stuff there. All right. Get on that SMS list, because I might make a video or two during the break about some things that I'm looking at. So go to robbiebooker.com/coach and get on that list, and you're good. So if you want to take advantage of the TradingView, by the way, I pay for TradingView too. I don't get it for free. I, I mean, that's not obvious, right? Like, it's a reasonable question. So Black Friday, Pro, I think Pro is perfectly fine. I think I have Pro Plus, but I don't think it's necessary. Yeah, I have Pro Plus. All right. Thanks for being here, everybody. Love you all. I'm going to stop the recording now, and we'll be back on Monday, and I'll text you in the meantime.